What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of Who You Got. And this week, we're going to be heading to the NHRA Virginia Nationals. It's going to be sponsored by PlayNHRA. And joining me today are our expert gaming consultants, Rex Simmermaker from Winlight Bets and Elon Werner from Bracket Bonanza. How you doing, guys?
Good, JT. You doing all right? Rex, always good to see you.
Yeah, great seeing you guys, and I'm excited to be back for episode number 2.
We are too, man. So, big weekend this weekend. NHRA race coming up. Play NHRA, big weekend for them. That they're that's the sponsor, and sounds like everything went pretty well last week, or I guess it's been 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, I think it was exciting. It was interesting to see. It came out on NHRA.com. You started seeing Play NHRA as the title sponsor. And then they sent a release out earlier this week, kind of announcing it officially. And I think that's kind of really showing how well the NHRA is leaning into the gaming of the QR code to just get people interested in, starting to place bets. I think Virginia, kind of that whole area is a hotbed for betting on races. And I think, we're seeing pickup already in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza of more people signing up. And we actually have a Hagen Cattle Company coming on board to sponsor the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza for this race, since it's kind of Matt Hagen's home game, for lack of a better word.
Oh, that's awesome, man! Is that the first time that you've had a company come on like that?
We had Peak for the Chicago race.
That's right.
Summit has stepped up, and they're doing gift cards throughout the year. But it was a natural tie-in. Hagen's been such a great supporter of Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. I talked to his cattle company folks, and they're doing it's called the Burger Bonanza Junior Package. It's like 10 pounds of premium ground beef for the overall winner, top fuel winner, pro stock, funny car, pro stock motorcycle.
So Hagen knows ground beef.
You still get the autographed plaques, which were a hit last race. It was very cool. Gage Herrera won pro stock motorcycle and signed his plaque. Gage Herrera history 9 in a row.
Crazy. How much ground beef do you think that Hagen eats in a week? That's got to be a lot of protein.
I think most people will get a whole cow and put it in their deep freezer, and then they'll kind of eat on it for 6 months or a year. I bet Hagen just gets a whole cow processed and just puts it right into his refrigerator. And doesn't even freeze it.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Maybe just take a quarter and just blend it for breakfast. You know. Yeah. Man, he's jacked.
But the Hagen Cattle Company, it's a pretty cool deal. I mean, I've actually had his beef before, so it's really good. It comes super well presented, and then you follow their thawing instructions, and it is a tremendous steak. So
really,
and if you're playing Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, we'll have a player code that when you get your emails, whether it's the Densy's Deets or the brackets are open, or you'll get a 10% off code just for Bracket Bonanza, for any Bracket Bonanza player. So
that's awesome. People can use it right now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Unless you listen to us. If you listen to us, then you'll be making money.
Right. You can be making money and making beef, and then you're set.
100%. Get your meals paid for.
What's been going on with you, Rex?
Man, well, we've got a big week for Winlight Bets here. As we had to redesign the entire app, rebuild the thing, and so this week is a big week for the developers. They're head down rebuilding the whole thing. So exciting time from our standpoint. Obviously it's middle of the year, middle of the race season, so that's good, and we're hoping to have it a little farther down the road than it is today. That said, we're really excited about the products that we're going to be able to put out, and kind of the neat stuff that is proprietary that the rest of the gaming world doesn't even have, that we're going to be able to do. So really exciting times here for the middle of June.
Super excited about all that, for sure. Any new news that you guys have heard of that's coming out of or leading into this weekend that could affect any gambling lines? Or
I think the biggest thing is the return of Bo Butner to Pro Stock. They haven't had very many. Virginia's still kind of a relatively new race. We raced there. We kind of went off for a little while. Now we're back. but Bo Butner's only one of 2 active drivers that have ever won at this racetrack. Bo and Jeg. And even Jeg, just kind of came back last year. So you've got 2 veterans kind of coming in that are probably going to give, Greg and Erica a run for the money. And I think the other thing is, I think you keep an eye on Gianna Evaristo. Her runner-up finish in Bristol, I don't think was a fluke.
Mm-hmm. And Bo Butner doesn't lack the confidence to come in there. He's not rusty either because he's been racing.
No, he's been racing Mountain Motor. He just won Mountain Motor in Bristol. So yeah, he's
won a couple, hadn't he?
Yeah, I think he's won. I think they've done 2, and he's won both of them.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Well, that to me, is a huge opportunity to make some money.
Yeah,
like he's going off at $1,780. So $100 bet pays out $1,780, and it's kind of like when you watch college basketball early in the season right now, that it's hard for the analytics to truly understand how the transfer portal worked for college basketball or whatever it might be. They don't know how the season is going to shake down, and the analytics haven't caught up to Bo in the fact that he's let go of the clutch before. That is not new for him to do that but it is new for this year. So it looks odd on paper. So to me, that's a real opportunity where there is a margin and there's an opportunity to make money on that just because we know he can do it.
And he's with the elite team, he's going to be in good equipment. Who's been, Elite's been hot, most of the year. So yeah, I mean, that's probably a great underdog pick right there.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the other underdog pick is Josh Hart. I mean, Josh Hart's coming in at like 2180.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he talked about before the race that he likes the 3 qualifier sessions on Saturday to basically get 2 good quality runs in the heat, which his car runs really well, and then that hero session at night could get him in the top half of the field, and he can just start chopping through a couple of his first rounds. So that's another guy in Top Fuel that I think Ron Douglas has been running that car, and they've got Stewie over there helping him out a little bit. I think that's another one to kind of keep an eye on.
That's good stuff, man. We do have a special guest today. Tyler Crossnoe is in the green room right now. So we thought we'd check in with him to see the track conditions or what he's expecting out of the track this weekend, or if there's what the forecast is out there right now. We got to tread lightly when we're around Tyler, though. He brings a lot of rain with him, doesn't he? What are you doing, TC?
Oh, I'm enjoying the sunshine now.
Hey, that's great.
So
how is everything out there?
Man, it is coming together. You guys have all been to national events. You know how they are. They're a controlled chaos for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday everything starts happening, and everybody's like, "Oh, this happened like so easy." Like, like this just happens. This just happens.
It's magic. It's magic.
Yeah, poof! It's here. It's like, oh no, it's a complete cluster if you don't know the truth. But
then you have that letdown when it's all over. It's like you can't wait for it to get over, and then it's over, and then you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yep. I've always said that, like whenever you have an event like this of this size and this much preparation that goes into it, you're so focused on it. You have so many things that bounce around every week, every day. And then when it ends, you're like, what do I do?
It's crazy, isn't it?
My days are so much easier now. No. But it's going to be an exciting weekend. Glad to have NHRA back at Virginia. Been 2 years since. So going to be a fun weekend.
How is the track kind of shaping up? That's the biggest question. I think that so many teams, we go to places this year like Chicago that hasn't had an event for a long time, but you guys have been having events, but you haven't had a national event, like an NHRA national. You guys have been doing national events, but like how do you feel the track is coming together leading up to the race weekend?
Racetrack's really good. I'll be honest. We race or test multiple days a week. Usually every week we're 3 to 4 day on the racetrack worth of events. Most of the time we're at least 1 day of private testing outside of that. So we race a lot on this racetrack. My guys were here last week. I was gone to Maryland for PDRA, and they did a full quarter mile straight. I walked in, I'm like, man, like, can I play on? Let me do this. Like, please, can I do this? Like, it's in really good shape. Guys just finished laying down some paint on the starting line. We got wraps coming in tonight to get the starting line wraps all dolled up and looking pretty. So I think it's going to be a really good racing surface until you put the temperature in it. Of course, that's just going to add a wrench to it. Let's be honest. The racing surface here, when they poured it, they did a really good job. It's one pour from the burnout box to past the quarter mile. There's no transitions. There's no bumps. There's no nothing. So if you're going to be at a hot, nasty, miserable forecast race, this is the racetrack to do it. I've said for years, this thing hates cold weather. It hates rain. But it honestly, I've gone as fast here in the heat as anywhere else on planet Earth. The racing surface reacts very well to heat. If you change your mix and you go, okay, it's going to tighten up a little bit from glue sprays, it actually reacts to it where other racetracks do not. We fought that last week in Maryland. We were trying to pull back some just to try and get some glue out of it, and still we're fighting. Hey, we got a greasy racetrack. As long as the rubber buildup doesn't get crazy, this thing should stay really, really good all through the weekend.
Do you think that's a credit to the fact that you guys have an all concrete track?
I would say the transition, not having any transitions, is bigger than that. I'll say I've been to some racetracks that are concrete and asphalt and can make them just as good or better than an all concrete racetrack. I think the benefits of a good forecast weekend, all concrete's better. If you were to have a weekend where the 2022 weekend, where it rained where it rained Friday, rained Saturday, water got underneath it, it became a nightmare. That is the negative of the all concrete racetrack. Fixa, you've been around Texas long enough. You've seen the same thing. When you have to scrape, it's like, that's a long damn way.
Right.
You got to go the whole way. When you're battling it out with certain weather conditions, all hot, dry weekends, I want an all concrete racetrack any day of the week because I feel like you're more in control.
Yeah.
If you have rain involved, I want some asphalt out there to be able to protect it.
That's cool. Is there a lane, like historically wise, is there been a lane there that's more popular or that people want, that's a little faster?
I'll be honest, the lanes to me from a racer standpoint, which I've actually got to race some this year, so now I can throw my little bit of input in there. I think the lane choice is more determined on where the sun is. It's a historic known fact. This racetrack is kind of turned in a weird direction. At times you're looking right into the sun if you're in certain lanes. And that changes from months of the year. Like in March, April, early May, right lane is a hard lane to be in around when the sun's dropping because it's sitting right behind the Christmas tree. Now it's kind of the way the world turns and all that stuff kind of sits between the scoreboards now. So there's really not a better lane either way. You kind of hope you have some afternoon cloud cover just to off in the distance, just for the way of, hey, let's knock that thing out so we don't have that variable. But really, as far as racing surface goes, I don't really think there's a better lane. I've gone back and forth in both in my own cars. I've gone back and forth with PDRA, back and forth. You see guys that'll come in and, I want the left lane or, I want the right lane. I don't think there's unless there's something that happens on the racetrack, barring an oil down or something like that. Right. I don't see there being a difference between lanes.
And Tyler, historically, some guys will talk about a track will maybe pull them to the center, pull them to the left, pull them to the right. Your experience on Virginia Motorsports Park, do you feel like pretty much if you get lined up straight, you're going to be in one spot?
Yep, and that's a credit to the one single pour.
Yeah.
Racetracks where you don't have the transitions, don't have those variables to, in a suspended door car, they're up on the wheelie bars, they're kicking one way or the other. In a top fuel or funny car, clutch application, they're moving around. They're still on the bar a little bit, but that's the glory of having no transitions, not being able to have any kind of interference with the tire. The only times that I see a car moving around is if the racetrack's really, really good, the way the engines roll over and the way it loads the car, it'll push a car to the left. If the racetrack's kind of loose and it's got some grease out there and it's spinning around, it'll spin to the right. So really, it's kind of the only times I see a car move around here. And that's really just based off the prep. And that's the way the cars are set up and the way the prep is on the racing surface at that time.
And in your expert opinion, do you consider Virginia Motorsports Park to have a wider groove or a skinnier groove? Because that was something that bit folks in Epping.
Yeah, it's very wide. This is racer Tyler.
Sure.
I'm very, very bad at, I want it prepped from the center line to the wall. And mainly it's not because I'm an overdriving person. I'm the first one to step off a pedal. But if something happens, I want something out there to be there.
Sure.
Like God forbid somebody blows the transmission line. If you get out there and you've got something there, you can maybe still hang on to a car. If you get outside of the groove and, let's use a Nitrous Pro Mod, for example. They got the front end of the air and they're rolling with the lockup and it sits down outside of the groove. I've always said the wider the groove, the better.
Sure.
Because you're the grooviest guy out there, man.
Yeah.
I am greedy, let's be honest. Kind of like the betting odds. I want them like good ones.
Yeah, but the thing about that bettors have to take into account is a wider groove puts some of the long shot guys more into play.
Yep.
Like a Buddy Hull or a Terry Haddock or a Bobby Bodie, guys that are still coming up, that if they, are still getting experience in the cars, if they get out of the group, they're pretty much done. But on a track like Richmond or Virginia, you can't discount those guys because they've got more track. So again, a hotter track, wider groove, that brings a Buddy Hull, a Paul Lee into play on a head-to-head matchup, or even as just like taking a flyer on a guy.
Yep. Oh, I agree. Because, let's be honest, another thing that you're going to see this weekend is you're going to see guys moving around on the starting line a lot. Yeah. Hey, I like this spot better. This is not as greasy as here. I'm going to step outside. Well, stepping outside of the groove on the starting line could also move that car around going down the racetrack. So the wider the groove is out there, the better you've got a chance to make that move on the starting line and it carrying all the way through the run because the groove's wide out there.
Not to change the subject here, but speaking of getting out of the groove, we got all kinds of positive feedback about you announcing this weekend. I mean, people were going bananas about it, man.
I haven't done that in probably like 9 or 10 years from like start to finish. I've kicked in a couple of times.
Well, you may have found something else to put on your resume. I know you wanted something else.
Don't bring that back.
It's full service. Attention track operators, Tyler, full service. Track prep, racing, announcing. Just one guy.
Marketing.
Marketing.
Merch.
The whole deal.
I mean, he does it all.
we try to do everything. I've always said, hey, look, if you can know how to do everything, you've always got a job.
That's true.
And I haven't probably had a chance to do that in a long time. One of our announcers had some other opportunities and was able to go ahead to do other things. And I was like, Scotty was asking me, he's like, man, who are we bringing in to announce with me? And I said, I think I'm going to do it. He's like, what? And like I've stood in on a class or two, just, hey, can I get a break or something like that? Yeah, I'll kick in, have fun, whatever. But I haven't announced one start to finish in a long time. But man, I had a good time. It was a blast. Just getting to talk about all your racers. It's fun to talk about the people that you get to watch all the time. And really from a series director standpoint, it's fun to be able to let people know how much you know about their cars and their combinations, their teams and all that too as well.
So JT, can I put Tyler on the spot real quick? We're going to give our picks later, but Tyler, knowing what you know about the track and the guys that are coming in, who are your 4 winners going into the PlayNHRA Virginia Nationals?
I'll keep track of it for you too, Tyler.
Keep track of it for me.
Yeah.
All right, so we're doing Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, and motorcycles?
Correct.
Yep.
All right, so I'll start with motorcycles. We'll go there first. I'm going to say this is the weekend that Matt Smith gets Gate-Rare.
I like it.
Don't know why. I have one of those feelings. Matt's tested with us before, and it is tested in the heat whenever he comes. So I think Matt's got some hot weather data here that Gage and that team might not. But I'm going to go Matt Smith this weekend.
I like that. Hot take.
Hot take. There was no safe pick alert on that one.
Okay, so now pro stock.
It's hard to go against Erica. Like they've got the horsepower right now. They ran really good in Epping. Seemed like they always had a number on the field. And Do I think upsets will happen this weekend? Yes. Do I think that Red Chevrolet has been beat on a little bit this year and hasn't finished the way that they would like to? Yes. I think this is the weekend that Erica kind of gets
You
back
guys,
moving. And
you guys saw a lot of upsets last weekend, didn't you?
holy moly, did we? That made my job easy.
Man, oh man.
Everybody was like, man, you announced really well. I'm like, it's because everything hit the fan. Made that easy.
All right. Now.
Funny car.
Funny car.
Ugh. Funny car's a toss-up to me. I think there's a lot that can. Caps won the last race here, if I remember correctly. Hagen, I think, won one of the ones before that. I don't know. I really don't know if there's a favorite there. Proc is running incredible. Like 100%.
And he is for the lines, he is the favorite.
Yeah, I feel like he's got to be the favorite.
And I will say, Tyler, not to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
My drag race bracket Bonanza stats, JFR has won 7 of the previous 13 funny car races with 4 different drivers. So this could be Austin Proc potentially could become the 5th JFR driver to win funny car. But you're right. Hagen and Caps have been the guys that have been super dominant, but
I kind of want to go like off the board.
I'm
going to go off the board here.
I like it.
I'm going to go off the board in funny car. A team that I've always said is dangerous in hot weather conditions and greasy. I don't know what to do. This is not going to go. Is Tim Wilkerson.
Yeah.
Wilkerson's always had a good handle on hot weather. I think Daniel's been really, really good in the car. I think I'm going to go Daniel Wilkerson getting his win this weekend.
Top fuel Tyler.
If I don't go with this one, everybody's going to absolutely kill me. But I got to go with my homeboy, guy I grew up watching, like an hour from home. I got to go play Milliken. Last time he was here, he was number 1 qualifier. I think this time they come in, they finish it off.
All right. What we'll do is we'll take your picks, Tyler, and then in the show we'll show if you put $100 down on all of Tyler's guys, this is what you could potentially win. So
don't call me if you do it.
Right.
No, we are not taking refunds.
Right.
This is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice. If you want sound financial advice, call your Edward Jones or Prudential financial advisor.
Please call Edward Jones or Morgan Stanley. This is not it.
This might be better.
Yeah, but
better odds than those right now.
Tyler will give you legal advice. He will also offer free legal advice as well.
Yeah, but
in addition to track announcing and track prep.
But also, if this does hit, I do expect 10%. So
without a doubt, yeah, for sure.
10% for your manager.
Exactly.
Gotta have that juice.
JT, you got 5%. You're in.
All right, awesome. What do you think about the 2-day event? And having 3 qualifiers on Saturday. Is that going to help some of these big teams? Or some of the big teams, I guess, will probably advantage from it, right? And some of the smaller teams will maybe struggle a little bit with it.
I think everybody gets an advantage here. I don't know why. I've always been a fan of 2-day races. As you can see with the PDRA format.
Yeah.
But I really when when I heard about it, I'm like, oh, can we please do Friday, Saturday? Like, I think that would have been badass. Like Friday night qualifying.
Oh man, I am a huge Saturday's
the day
night in front of the crowd, man.
Yes.
I want to see that winner in front of the crowd.
And I was like, oh, when I heard 2-day format, I'm like, oh, please. And I'm thinking in my head, we have really good LED lighting. I'm like, this is all there to do a Friday night, Saturday night show. And when I heard it was Saturday, Sunday, I was just a little let down. Just because I was like, damn, it would have been really cool if it was Friday, Saturday. But I'll be honest, I think it's a really good format. JT's known me forever. I'm the guy that likes to go outside of the box. We're doing a different format for one of our races later in the year with Shakedown, kind of bringing a dirt track format into pro mod racing. And when they kind of started talking about it, I was completely all on board for it, just for the reasoning of I like being different. I like having a sales pitch that's different than everybody else's. I like having things that look different, just because of, let's be honest, there's 23 or 22 or however many national events there are still. I can't even remember. Yeah. But when they all look the same, it's really hard to say, hey, come to ours. Don't go to Charlotte. Don't go to Maple Grove. Don't go to all these other ones. Come to ours. Well, what's different? Nothing. The seats you sit in. That's about it. So I was really excited to see something different. Do I think that format will stick going forward? I think it will. I do not think it's an every event program. I think it's a, let's be honest. There's markets that are really, really good that can sustain a 3-day national event that can put fans in the stands for 3 days. I also say there's markets that can't. I know we have struggled here for trying to sell 3-day tickets, trying to put people in for 3 days. It's a lot to ask of somebody this day and age. Back up to 2004, 2005, it's a pretty easy sell. Everybody liked going for 3 days. That was kind of things to do weren't as often. But the world's changed, and I think we have to slowly adapt to that. And I think this is the first step for NHRA. So I'm excited to see it. I think with the hot conditions, it's going to be a little tricky. I think you'll see people make the first session. If people make a good lap in Q1 and are solidly in the field, it wouldn't surprise me to see a couple sit out Q2. But on the same breath, I looked at kind of the times today. I was actually looking at it from a racer standpoint. If you skip a session, what round are you missing data from for Sunday?
Right. Exactly.
Because they're going to be different sessions. 4 hour, I think it's 3 or 4 hour difference in between Q1 and Q2. It's a big atmospheric swing. It's a big track temp swing, probably. Do you want that data? I would want to make all 3 because I want to see the tree at all days or at all times of the day. From a crew chief standpoint, I want the data going down the racetrack. I want everything that I can get my hands on. So I'm forcing myself to make all 3 if I'm in that situation. But like we've talked about, will there be some teams that say, well, I'm solidly in the field. I do not need to make this session. I'm going to save the money, hold out of this one. I'm going to come back for 3. I think that will happen. I don't think you'll see a lot of it, but I think you'll see some teams that will opt to sit out a session, and it'll probably be Q2.
And they'll probably suffer from it, the next day, right? So I mean,
and then you worry about that. You come in Sunday, and if a guy goes out, wins first round, but smokes the tire second round, do you look back on that and go, "Dang, we should have made that session"?
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Back to your Saturday night. I know that it's not going to happen right away, but I just love the Saturday night finishes. You brought it up, and I think the crowd feeds off of the team's excitement. And there's not near as much excitement in eliminations and of course qualifying for sure. But man, when they're going up there to the finals and that crowd is just jacked up, I think that the teams feed off the fans and the fans feed off the teams, and it's cool for them to get to see how important it is to them because people have to work on Monday, and when it starts to get late, and especially if you have your family there, you got to get them out of there. But they may have school even, so yeah.
Well, and two, as weird as I'm the one that's been bitten by it so many times. I like having a backup plan in my pocket if weather comes in.
You've experienced enough of it.
Experience speaks, but
and
having Sunday as a backup, I like that.
Yeah, and the 3 qualifying runs on the PlayNHRA side really gives some juice to people that are interested in betting on number 1 qualifier.
Very much.
You can look at those first 2 sessions and look at, okay, here, Doug Coletta might be sitting 9th, but that's a car that could just as easily jump to number 1. And right now, I think he's the number 1 pick for, top fuel number 1 qualifier. Yeah. You look at these, you're getting more info as a bettor on those first 2 qualifying sessions to get your money down before Q3, which could make that even more exciting and get more action on that.
I'll agree there. And it's like we've all talked about, we've all said it for years in the industry. What do you do to keep people's attention span? Is that putting everything in one day to where it's all right? Look, I've got to go for one day. I've got to focus on one day of the live feed or one day of sitting in the stands to make that bet. Let's be honest. If it works, it works. Yeah. And I'm proud of NHRA for saying, let's try it. What's the worst thing that happens? It doesn't work. Okay, we go back to the drawing board and try something else. So I'm proud of
this. Could make it a heck of a lot more interesting. If people are betting on the number 1 qualifier and they have some skin in the game, maybe that is a final to them. On Q3. It really could be.
I definitely see benefits. I see negatives. You see it from all sides. From a facility standpoint, from a VMP standpoint. From you look at it on Friday, and it's like, F&B sales is going to hurt. Your RV sales, does that struggle a little because of it not being, or do we buy an RV pass because of it's really only 2 days of nitro? I don't think we've seen that. We won't know F&B until we go through the event. But I can see that Friday F&B takes a hit. Is it up Saturday and Sunday? Again, you don't know.
Hopefully.
So, hopefully from my seat, I really hope it is.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see that. I think we're all like on pins and needles. Like, all right, how is this going to work? What does it look like? Does it even work? We don't know. So I'm excited. It's going to be a fun weekend, not only for the return of the national event, but also just for a new format, something different.
What's the forecast look like there
Hot.
for the weekend?
Hot, damn hot.
Hot and humid?
I don't really think the humidity's too bad, but the heat's pretty rough. Luckily, usually I don't want to jinx this program, but usually whenever we do have really hot temperatures here, you have some cloud cover that will come in and kind of break up that UV through the day. So I'm hoping that we can have that as well, just because it's going to be a scorcher out there for sure.
Awesome. Do you just kind of final thoughts, and thanks for giving us some time today.
Yeah.
What is your whole thoughts on the PlayNHRA and then starting this whole gambling thing? I'm
interested to see how it goes. Tommy and I actually talked about it last night. Tommy Franklin, that owns Virginia Motorsports Park, owns PDRA. So we were actually kind of going back and forth on it last night, and just kind of like, I think we'll see people in the grandstands like through the day, just like are they placing bets? Are they in the midway activating and all that? So I think it's all fresh. I'm not gonna say I'm worried about it, but you same thing. You wonder, hey, what's the long goal? You see so many things that will pop in and go, oh, hey, this is going to be big and bad. This is going to be badass. This is going to be the best thing out there. And then 6 months later, you go, what was that thing that they were talking about? So I hope it's something that can be built on a long term, because let's be honest, we've seen sports betting for basketball, for football, for baseball, all of the
anything you can imagine.
You can bet on.
Coin flips. Yes, anything. Yep.
Yeah. So anything you can bet on has seen growth, I feel like, because it's made it more interactive. It's made it more investment from a fan standpoint. I'll be honest, I've never sports betted in my life until about 6 months ago. And then I would find myself like actually watching a game. I used to have a game on in the background. I'm gonna work on my laptop or write something or whatever, and I'll just have a game on, just listen to it, see who wins. But now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and watch the game. I've got like $20 on this.
You're invested. Yeah,
invested. So it made me become a fan and made me pay attention. I think this can happen for NHRA. I think this is probably the next step of how do we get new people into the sport. Everybody likes to gamble. We're all racers. I mean, like I've told everybody, people ask me that aren't racing people, why do you race? What's the deal? And every time, have you ever been to Las Vegas? Yeah, I like to gamble. That's all we are doing. When we roll on the racing surface to race ourselves, we are controlled gambling is all we were doing. We can control our destiny usually, but it's kind of that same thing in my book. Is I'm excited to see what NHRA does with it. I think it can be good, but also I'm anxious to see kind of what steps it takes. How fast does it get there? Are we going too fast, or are we not going fast enough? That's always the question.
And we'll have to educate people. And, there's a happy medium when you're doing it, of course, as well. But I think it'll catch on. And I think that Rex and Elon, I think that we've talked about it before. And it is. If you're invested in it, you're going to pay more attention. I think that fantasy is what brought football to where it's at right now. I think before people were probably watching just their team. And once fantasy sports started, you started watching a little bit of everything. The casual fan.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Well,
thanks for your time today, Tyler.
Anytime, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And
we'll be praying for you this week.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Are any of you guys making it out to the race?
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple days, Tyler.
I thought you would be here. Yeah. Good deal. Well, if you need anything while you're here, you let us know.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tyler. He's always good to talk to. He's the oldest young guy we've ever met.
Yeah, he's got the most experience for a young guy of anybody.
Man, he's done a lot in his young career.
Man,
It's actually a long career at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, really, he just started so young.
Yeah.
Very
I
good.
loved his. I loved the thought he put into his picks too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, did too.
Really interesting.
And then, you know what he's talking about there on how fast it catches on. I was telling you guys before, a guy that I know that has a book. He said he called his customer service line and was very surprised on how many people had called in to wonder when you know his gambling site was going to have the NHRA on it. And I thought that was great news to hear because I didn't know if that would happen right off the bat, you know, but evidently people are interested and, you know, they're wanting their betting platform to carry it. And that's great news.
Right. It's huge. It is really a great sport to
What
bet
next, guys? You want to go dive into these odds?
Let's dive into the odds and do our picks, maybe.
Yeah, let's do it. What do you want to start with?
We want to go. I would be all for just, you know, I'll throw my fantasy picks out there and then we can dive into odds and go from there if that works for you guys.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so my picks for Drag Race Bracket Bonanza this weekend: Josh Hart, Top Fuel. I think the three qualifiers on Saturday is going to come to him and give him a good shot. Plus, when Tyler was talking earlier about a hot track, Josh Hart has a hot track Top Fuel dragster that are no carriers Top Fuel dragster. Give me Bob Tasca, the 3 in Funny Car. I think, you know, we got similar to like you're talking about Dan Wilkerson. I think he's due, and I think it'll set up for him to get 2 good sessions on Saturday, and he'll put up a monster number on Saturday night if it cools off.
Yeah.
On that track with that much rubber, those conditions will come to him, so he could come in easily as the number 1 qualifier and get a couple decent first or second round matchups. I'm also going to go contrarian on Pro Stock and go Aaron Stanfield. I think that guy has been so close. He's just caught some bad breaks. He's got elite power. But I don't know why I say that, but I just feel like he could be a guy that his odds are right there in that sweet spot of not a long shot, but not super favorable for a driver of his caliber. And then I'm going to keep betting Gage Herrera. I'm going to keep picking Gage Herrera until he
bet it till it bucks you, man.
Ride the horse. Ride the horse.
Just until, you know, it's like one of those deals where if you'd have been betting, you know, $100 all year, you would be so far playing with house money, even at his crazy odds, that now you're just waiting for the game to come to you. And that's, you know, 92% of the people are picking him in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. That Bob Tasca III is a solid pick in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Aaron Stanfield and Josh Hart, depending on kind of their first round matchups, they get a good matchup kind of deal, get a good system going. They could be in a good spot.
I like it. What do you got, Force Rex?
Well, for Top Fuel, I'm going with Tony Stewart. He's at plus 1,000 for the line right now. My money, maybe the greatest wheelman ever to get behind getting a race car. So I'm just gonna expect that he's gonna figure that out. I'm gonna go Ron Capps at 723 in Funny Car. I think you know, that's the way I understand it, he's the last one to win there. He won there last time. So kind of, you know, you get comfortable as a driver at certain tracks for whatever reason. And so he's been comfortable there before. So I'm going to roll with that. In Pro Stock, I'm going to take what I think are the best odds here, maybe of the weekend, with Bo Butner at 1780. We talked about it earlier, and just the fact that I think he's better than those odds. It's just the way the numbers line up. And I don't blame the computers. I just don't think they've got it right this weekend. So Bo that way. And then, you know, I'm going with Gage, even though he's negative 426. And Tyler makes a compelling argument for Matt Smith. He really does. But I am going with the guy until he loses. So that's where I stand with that.
I like it. I'm going to go with, let me see. I'm on Funny Car right now. I'm going to go with Proc on Funny Car. And I'm going to go. Sorry, I'm looking at my sheets now. You guys give me all this information, see that it makes sense.
Right. It makes it. That's the great thing is
It
there's
is.
now this information. Densy's Deets with regular Sprack Bonanza, PlayNHRA tips, and then there's going to be more information. I think you will see a whole other subculture of people providing stats. Dave W. stats are going to come into play. It's going to be really interesting as we get into this deal.
Yep. And I'm going to go in Top Fuel. I'm going to go with Steve Torrance. And I just think that I just keep picking, even in the bracket Bonanza, I just keep picking Steve. You know, like, man, he was so dominant. They'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
And I mean, they will. That team is they're good, man. And then I'm going to go with Jeg for Pro Stock. And then I got to roll with Gage in Pro Stock Motorcycle.
Jeg's a good pick in Pro Stock because he's won there before. And again, I think he's undervalued in the stats.
I mean, it's hard to go against Erica. I mean, it is. She's so dominant. But Jeg is also one of the best wheel guys we've seen ever. Yeah. I mean, really. I mean,
I thought you said Jeg, not Erica, so I misheard you.
I did.
Okay.
But yeah.
Dang it, you're all tripping me up, JT. Did you pick Erica or Jeg? Don't try to
Jeg.
Don't try to get a double pick in.
I did. I said it's hard to go against Erica, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the odds. I mean, if you're betting,
Rex, did you not think he was trying to slide 2 picks in on us there for a second?
I'm not about cheating, right? He's hedging.
If I can figure out how to cheat this system here with you guys, I'm gonna do it. You know,
that's fair. That is fair.
But the odds, even if you are betting that, are so much better too. What were the odds here? Let's go back to it. Pro Stock event winner. So Jeg was at plus 976. That looks like here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Erica's at plus 548. So I mean, pretty big difference.
Well,
Greg Anderson is actually at plus 475.
Yeah, they've got Greg as the favorite.
Yeah, Greg is the favorite.
Yeah.
Followed by Dallas Glenn at 493. And then Erica at 548.
So yeah, that's pretty good window right there just for those three.
Mm-hmm. And
Greg would be a great pick for number one or for the quickest CT.
I'm sorry, say it again, JT.
So Greg would be a good pick for the quickest CT. If you were.
Yeah.
All right. You want to go into any of these actual lines?
Yeah, let's
show.
Why don't you fire them off, JT, and Rex and I'll weigh in whether we think they're too high or too low.
Okay, and we'll just hit on the main ones here.
Yeah.
And let's start. I'll start here with I'll start with Pro Stock. Let's see. Event winner. Of course, Gage is at minus 426, which is, I think he might be the only person in any of these lines that is in the minus.
Right.
And again, for people that are just starting this, that means that you have to bet 426 to win 100. It's just the opposite of these other lines that we've been telling you about. And then following his minus 426 line is Matt Smith at plus 1487. I mean, that is that's a huge freaking swing, guys.
Wow.
I mean, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything like that.
And Matt won this race in 2022. The last time it was contested, Matt is the defending winner. And he's, so that is a huge opportunity, I think, for a gambler.
It is. Because in third, Chase Van Zandt is 2010 plus 2010. So almost 1,500 difference in between those two. No, almost 2,500. Sorry.
We haven't had lines forever.
Wow.
This hasn't been something that we've had lines forever, but I mean, to have essentially a favorite and then everybody else be a heavy underdog is pretty wild. That's kind of historic right out of the gate, which is
It
wild.
really is from first to second to be 1,000 difference. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
We may never see that again.
I wonder if we will ever see that again. And then let's go to pro stock here. Like we mentioned before, Greg Anderson plus 475. Next up was Dallas Glenn at 493, and then Eric Enders at plus 548, and then Stanfield plus 786, Jag plus 976, TJ Troy Coughlin at plus 1004, and then there's several in the thousands there until you drop down to the back, but man, pretty close here in pro stock, really.
Yeah. And the thing is, on that pro stock deal, on those odds with Drag Race Bracket Bonanza kind of weighing in, don't sleep on the McGaheys. They have won on all concrete tracks. They could be a long shot pick to get some, there have been 9 all concrete drivers wins, and the 2 most current wins, 3 of them have gone to Chris McGahey. So
really,
he runs well on all concrete. Now he's been struggling a little bit, but he's also been making some progress. So I would think if you want to just take a real flyer on somebody, Chris McGahey could be, with those odds, could be someone to take a look at.
And they just been looking for they just had some bad luck, haven't they? And they just been looking to figure it out there. But these pro stock teams, they figure it out eventually. Let's go Top Fuel, event winner. Justin Ashley is the favorite at plus 639. Steve Torrance, 657. Doug Coletta, 662. Boy, these guys, these are close. These top 3 are all right there together. Sean Langdon, 737. Clay Milliken, 827. Antron, 879. Tony Stewart, 1000. Brittany, 1016. Billy Torrance, 1139. And then on down. And so these are grouped pretty similar here. But this is good money though this is still pretty darn good money.
Yeah. What was Steve Torrance again, JT?
Steve Torrance was plus 657.
Yeah. So he's won 84.5% of his winning percentage at Virginia Motorsports Park, and has been to 3 straight finals there and won it in 2018 and 2019. So if you're telling me I can get plus 600 on Steve Torrance, please, I'll take 2 helpings of that if I was able to bet.
I think I made a good pick there, didn't I?
Yeah. I should have checked my Densy's. I may have should have checked my Densy's Deets before I let my heart get ahead of me on my Josh Hart pick. But I'm going to stand by my man Josh Hart.
I like it. A lot of times I end up, I like these guys so much. You end up when you're picking. When I pick on your deal all the time, I end up picking all my buddies.
Your heart versus your head. It's a constant.
It does. Okay, funny car. Austin Prock, leader at plus 472. Matt Hagan in second favorite here at plus 516. John Force at plus 660. Ron Capps plus 723. Tasker the third at 802. J.R. Todd 879. Daniel Wilkerson 900. And then we go into the thousands with everybody else until Paul Lee then it jumps to 27.99. So, but again, these top teams here, these top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, 7 teams are within about 4 to 500.
Yeah.
And that's, you got to give some credit here, for the rules and and these teams being so damn good. I mean, anybody can win. It seems like this day and age, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And to put it in horse racing terms, I mean, that's, all these guys would be going off at 6 or 7 to 1 or 8 to 1, along those lines. And you'd feel pretty good about those numbers, taking anybody that, you had a good feeling about. You go, hey, that's a good line. I'll take it. I'll lock it. So.
Yep. Elon, do you have anything to wrap up here before we wrap it up? Do you have any Densy's Deets that you want
Man,
to?
I think
quick hitters.
My quick hitters for Densy's Deets are the Capco guys, JFR in Funny Car, Bo Butner or Jeg as previous Pro Stock winners, and do not sleep on Jeg Coughlin, but please, or Gage Herrera. But also sign up for free Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. You'll get your Densy's Deets. You'll get your Hagen Cattle Company 10% off code for the whole weekend. And we're excited about, basically, getting back into 2 races in a row and getting back in the groove. But we've got some exciting things coming up. But definitely you can sign up now and then get your picks in on Saturday night.
That's awesome.
Great.
Anything, Rex?
I'm just excited about a good weekend here. This will be fun, the 2-day race, and really excited to see how this thing plays out.
I am too. We want to thank you, everybody else, for joining us today, and get your picks in, get signed up for Densy's Deets. This Densy's Deets has some really killer info. I mean, it's almost unbelievable when you read it. So get signed up for it, and we'll catch you guys next race.